Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to the winter campaign for Arkham Horror, the card game. When we did the Vanishing of Elena Harper earlier this morning, we didn't pick up any experience, and Nathaniel picked up his second trauma of the campaign. This one was a mental trauma. Now, this is also making me a little bit more than a little wary of my house rule on trauma. To explain what that is, I have a house rule where if an investigator has more than... Usually I wrap campaigns at about 3 trauma, but I also have a house rule where I can spend 4 experience per trauma that I want to clear when I'm doing upgrades. Unfortunately, we have a total of 3 experience to clear, since I was a bit of a derp and didn't spend my experience in the last opportunity that I had right before the scenario started. So that's where we've got 3 extra experience sitting. I decided to just let it float for a little while and handle it that way. Figure I'd spend it on the next upgrades video, theorizing that I was going to have more, but obviously, as you can see, that plan didn't exactly materialize itself. And full disclosure, on the note of that house rule of trauma, if I pick up a 3rd trauma, I am going to wrap the campaign at that point. I'm not really enjoying this campaign, and I'm remembering why I didn't enjoy this one. I'll talk a little bit more about that, though, during the campaign outro. But the short version is between the disjointed story and the inability to spend experience right away, it's kind of causing me a little bit of headaches with this campaign. But there's another big reason. Unfortunately, we're going to meet that reason first as we say hello to Akachi. You're probably thinking to yourself right now, Phoenix Knight, why is Akachi making you want to end this campaign early? To be clear, it's not Akachi herself that's making me want to end this campaign early. It's this particular build of Akachi. I'm starting to think that Mystics don't work well as a Clover unless they have probably a Seeker Splash to get access to some of those Cloovering, to some of the really good Seeker cards like Deduction, or I forget what some of the other cards are. Deduction is the main one that pops to the top of my head, but obviously we didn't get access to those with Akachi, and I think I kind of leaned too much into building her like a more traditional Mystic when I need to build her as a Mystic Clover. Somebody in the comments might be able to give me some suggestions on future Akachi builds where she works better as a Clover, but for now, we're going to see what we can do with this mess. So first we're going to spend the 3 experience that we had from the Pit of Despair, and we're going to upgrade we're going to change out Familiar Spirit for Twila Catherine Price. We've seen her quite a few times before, but we'll take a look at her anyway. 3 cost to play, Lore and Agility on Commit. Reaction: after you spend 1 or more charges from a spell asset, exhaust Twila, place a charge on that asset. It's another ally asset, but we definitely need But Twila is just too good to pass up. Twila, I feel like, is one of those cards where if you can take her as a Mystic, you just do. That's my opinion anyway. But another house rule that I've got here is if the investigators earn no experience during a scenario, then they can make 2 level 0 swaps for free, and that's what we're going to do here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to swap out the 2 Withers for 2 different cards. First, we're going to swap a Wither out for her 2nd Clairvoyance. 4 cost to play, Lore on Commit. Uses 3 charges, which will be 4 because of her special ability. As an action, spend 1 charge to investigate, using Will instead of Lore. If you succeed, discover 1 additional clue at this location, but if you pull a good symbol during the investigation, take 1 horror. So we're going to swap that Wither out. The other Wither is getting replaced with the first time we're using it, Dowsing Rod. 4 cost to play, Lore on Commit. This is probably going to be a terrible idea, but we'll see soon enough. As an action, investigate, either using Will or get +1 Lore for the investigation. When you initiate this ability, choose 1. Either exhaust it and place a doom on it to move to a connecting location, Or if this investigation discovers the last clue at a location, remove 1 doom from Dowsing Rod. Mostly I just need anything that can help with gathering clues for this build of Akachi. We'll see how this works though. My guess again is probably going to be not great, but there's only one way to find out, yes? So that's it for Akachi. Now let's go say hello to Nathaniel. I'm much happier with this build of Nathaniel than I am with Akachi. Clearly what you see, what you get is a thing with Nathaniel. So, for his 3 experience from Pit of Despair, we're going to add a charisma to the build. We've seen this before, but once again we'll take a look. Permanent, you have 1 additional ally slot. As many useful allies as Nathaniel has in his deck, I definitely want to make sure we have more of them and can have more of them out. As for his level 2 level 0 swaps from experience from the the Vanishing of Elena Harper, we're going to swap out something worth fighting for 2 copies of Evidence. 2 lore on commit, 1 cost to play. Fast, play when you defeat an enemy. Discover 1 clue at your location. We've got a little bit more soak than I expected in Nathaniel's deck, and plus, I'm finding that the best defense for him from taking horror is just to give the other guy a good punch in the dukes, is to just give him a good one right in the chops before he can get his hands up to defend himself. So that's it for Nathaniel, that's it for upgrades. Now let's move back up top for the tarot reading. I've got the tarot deck right here, so let's give this a shuffle and see what our reading is for the next scenario. For those of you who are new to the channel, the way I do tarot readings is I do a balance reading, so I'll draw 2 cards from the tarot deck. I'll flip 1 to the bad side and keep 1 on the good side. So we get a good and a bad effect. That's not the only way you can use the tarot deck, of course, but that's just the way I choose to use it. So we'll give this 1 more shuffle. And a cut. And those are our 2 cards for the tarot reading. First up, we'll find Death 13. Each investigator gets +1 health on the good side. Or on the bad, each investigator gets -1 health. That could be useful with both investigators having a physical trauma to keep on the good side. But let's see what our second card is to look at. The Sun 19. During each investigator's first turn, they may take 2 additional actions. Or on the bad side, during each investigator's first turn, they have 2 fewer actions to take. That's actually good enough that we might consider flipping Death 13, and I think we will. I think we will flip Death 13 to its bad side. So I'm just going to make some notes here. Good is the Sun XIX. First turn, +2 actions. Death 13. -1 health. That could be a problem because that'll make Akachi that'll make her a 4/8. It'll make Nathaniel a 7/5, but we can probably deal with that. We might be asking for trouble with Nathaniel's trauma, but we can probably deal with that. But that will do it for this upgrades video. I'm going to be making a couple more unboxing videos as I shoot this afternoon. As for what else is coming up on the channel, Wednesday we're playing Expeditions from Stonemaier Games. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will continue out of the Cooking with Deadpool cookbook with the entree, Not the Only Fish in the Sea. Next week, we have the potential for the last scenario in the winter campaign with the 3rd scenario. What is this one? I can't even remember what the scenario is now. In Too Deep, that's what it is, I believe. Yes, In Too Deep. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.